And welcome back. It's now a minute away from 7 o'clock, and as promised before the break, we're sitting down to talk about a special training for the business community that has been organized by the Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And joining us for this conversation, we have PR for BCCI, Delmi Novello, and we also have from Happier Horizons, Aussie, Adrian McInman. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, Adrian, let's talk a little bit about Happier Horizons.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about your company and what it does.
Okay. I donate my time all around the world. So far, this is my 11th country. This is my 78th organisation. Do it all for free. And basically what we focus on is three things. We focus on improving the performance of organisations, stimulating personal development, and then finally we focus on happiness. And I guess you're wondering why on earth somebody would focus on happiness.
Of course. Isn't that covered under personal development, that small chapter in the end? Just be happy?
Well, it would be nice if it was as simple as that, but yeah. I mean, I'll give you an example. This morning I'm waiting for my friend here to pick me up, and some woman drives up beside where I'm staying, and she's in a huge foul mood. She's saying everything I can't say on television, etc. And anyhow, I find out later the reason why she was angry was because she couldn't park in her favourite car park right outside where she works. She had to be, and I actually walked from where she ended up parking to where she likes to park. It was 27 steps, and she was in a foul mood for that. And seriously, if you can stay happy, you wouldn't worry about things like that. So that's why I focus on happiness.
Now, it's interesting because we always talk of ways of increasing your happiness index. When you talk about that, very often, especially with employers, they figure your salary should be enough. So how do you get business owners to think about that as a critical component for employees or even for themselves?
Oh, well, there's really good research to show that they should really, as you say, open your eyes. The reality is, they did a study with California businesses, and what they did was they ranked the employees by the bosses. The bosses would say who was the best worker, and what they then went to is the employees and asked them who is the happiest, and what do they find? It was fairly obvious. The people that said that they were the happiest, well, the bosses were saying they were the better workers. You know, there's no. I'll give you another one. There's a woman called Teresa Ramable from Harvard University, and what she did was she got people, employees from 7 different businesses, to write emails to her every day, and then she does a thing called a content analysis, where what she does was she looks at the emails from the most positive and happy to the least positive and unhappy, and then. So she's ranked all these people. Now what she does is she ranked them for moments of creativity at work. And what they found was the happiest people were the ones who were coming up with the most creative solutions for problems at work. But the unhappy ones weren't being particularly productive at all.
At all. And I think that's such an important point because, unfortunately, we don't talk a lot about burnout here in Belize, and we don't talk so much about, or a lot of times business don't necessarily recognize the value of being able to build an environment that is more conducive towards a happier employee, a more creative employee, and therefore a more productive employee. So how do you get businesses, when you travel all over the world, different cultural contexts, to understand that their productivity is directly impacted by the contentment of their individual employees, and not just necessarily managers, but even all the staff that is involved.
Clearly, what you're indicating is the really difficult part. Yeah, you're asking me a very difficult question.
I know, and I'm sure you can handle it.
I'll do my best. And the reality is, it really comes from the top. When the top people are switched on, then I can come in and really do good things. But if the top people are not switched on, then it really is much, much more difficult. But it's not impossible. I mean, for instance, I was at one organisation in Belize who were talking about a certain topic which tends to bring the heart rates up of a few people. So we won't mention what it was. But somebody in the audience said, well, there's nothing we can do. We're down here, what can we do? But the reality is it all starts with us. You know, if you, for instance, this wasn't the organisation. So, for instance, I was with the police recruits a few days ago, and there was the same sort of thing. It was, what can we do? We're only recruits. The reality was there was 130 people in that room, and every one of those recruits, if they decide, for instance, I don't know, let's talk about corruption maybe. If they decide that they're never going to take a bribe, ever, that they're always going to behave in a good manner, well, they set a tone, don't they? That's 130 people. And if the next lot of recruits do the same thing. We are all very, very powerful. Mm-hmm. As a psychologist, I am useless if all I count on is my pieces of paper on the wall. What really matters is what kind of person I am. Am I empathic? Am I a risk taker? All these sorts of things make much more importance. And also, what some of your employees may not like to know, but the employers will like to know, happiness is not related to money. Mm. If you win the lottery, 6 months later, you'll be actually 5% less happy and 5% more tense.
Now,
more money, more problems.
More money, more problems.
I want to jump over to Delmi for a second because Delmi, I mean, listening, we can understand the importance of having something like this. But how did the chamber decide that this was something that was fitting for their objectives as well?
Okay, well, it all falls under our mandate to connect, capacitate, and champion our members.